Okay, so I want to show you my dragon farming team here in honor of the fusion event going on, where we have the tournament and the dungeon divers and all of that double dipping here over the weekend. I want to show you an efficient way to think about farming the dragon here and what I use on my main account. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so what you're seeing right here is my dragon team, where the two food champions just fell over. And the reason this is so efficient is because you can grind the dungeon with 3 champions while also leveling up 2 champions. So it's a little bit of like a pseudo dungeon grind champ training, and because of the fusion going on, you're going to want to develop as many resources as you can to be able to crank through all of these different objectives that we need to complete during the fusion. And then if you see what it looks like in game, you're gonna have this right here, your 3 champions. This is the main crux of your team, and then you would go ahead and just like throw in 2 food champions to level up during the runs. And this team works just fine on the hardest dragon stage in the game, stage 10 on hard mode. I'm able to do it around probably a minute 25, a minute 30 on average. If I'm putting in food there, some of the bad runs might be like a minute 45, minute 50. Some of the good runs might be like a minute 20, minute 15 or something. But yeah, somewhere around there is what I'm expecting here, which is super handy during super raids, because you're basically doing a run every 45 seconds or so. And if you're newer to Raid, the reason that you use 3 champions, like this is my actual team. Even if I am not leveling up food, I'll actually put 3 champions in there. And for new players, they might be like, what are you doing? Why would you waste 2 slots? You could bring in a damage dealer and do more damage and be able to do the dungeon even faster. Well, the reason is the animation time. So like over the course of the run, the whole like wave 1, wave 2, and then the boss fight, over the course of the run, those 2 champions that I add in there will be doing a lot of animations, running up and swinging their sword or whatever, spinning around in the air like Duchess. You'll have a bunch of different animations, and sometimes just given how the flow of the run works, sometimes you don't end up with a net positive in terms of time saved versus animations spent doing the actual actions. So that means that I can put together a team here of 3 champions that ends up being pretty close to a 5 team, or even better sometimes, just because I'm saving all of that time with those animations. So yeah, this team right here is a 100% win rate. It's perfectly viable for me. I've got my 3 champions I can bring into food, and I'm using Elva in the lead, Ninshak, who was a fusion, and then also Teodor to crank out a bunch of poisons and poison detonation. And I'll show you kind of the stats and some of the stuff involved here with my team. And then I'll also talk about some things to look out for, because obviously not everybody out there is going to have the same champions and everything available on their account that I have on mine. Everybody's got a different roster and all that type of stuff. But the reason I go with this one is because Elva right here provides a ton of utility, gives me an aura to use and bring into the fight, while having some targeted heals here on the A1. The A2 is ridiculous. It's going to do an AoE cleanse while placing block debuffs and increased speed on the whole team. And then in case things do go awry, this is something that will give you a 100% win rate, because we can get a revive here on the A3 while also increasing defense and attack. If they get revived, can be super handy on someone like a Ninshak. And then we have a passive here of heal every ally at the start of every turn and place a perfect veil. So just Elva is tailor-made for something like this. Has so much support and speed and block debuffs and revive and utility that she is just an amazing general champion. And then Ninshak is just there to kind of do damage, but another super handy thing about Ninshak is that he's going to decrease attack, which can be amazing in the dragon. So he's there for the damage and the utility of decreasing attack with all of his poisons and bombs and stuff going off to crank out damage. And then Teodor. So Teodor is one of the only 1 or 2 times I got super lucky pulling shards in this game over the last year or so. I actually pulled during a 10x for Teodor and got Teodor, which is only like a 6 or 7% chance to happen if you pull a legendary during a 10x, and I actually got it to happen and got Teodor. I want one of those screenshots where it's, oh, here we go. Here it is. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, we're back, baby. We're back. Oh my god. Oh my, it was 6.5% and it happened. Oh my god. I was so screwed, and then it actually happened. I got a which my main reason for wanting him was situations like this, because he's so amazing at helping out with some of those speed runs where you're trying to go through something like the dragon super fast. He's got the AoE A1 to do increased speed. He's got the poison and poison sensitivity, and he can put the increased speed, so ridiculous. And then he's going to increase duration of poison and HP burn as well while activating, and he can even place a weaken if he doesn't have those on there, and he's going to get a little bit of bonus resistance here on the passive. But the main reason I want him is for the poison sensitivity, and the detonations. And then if you want to be able to compare stats to me or whatever, I'll show you all of that really quickly here. We've got our Elva in just a bunch of normal speed, immortal type support gear. And then the stats are going to look something like this right here. 80,000 HP, attack is irrelevant, 3,500 defense, 260 speed, and then we don't have to really worry about anything else. We're just looking for like speed and toughness for the utility there on Elva. And Ninshak is still in like a tanky type build with a regen gear. I could probably scale him up a little bit to do even better and save me about 10 seconds on these runs, but he's still in that toughness build, and I just kind of threw him in here and he's working fine. I was trying to, you know, do some solo content with Ninshak so I can bring in 4 XP leechers instead of 2. But anyway, his stats right here are going to look like this with the 72k HP, the 4k attack. Again, I could scale that up to 5 or 6k if I changed his gear a little bit, and that would be perfectly fine. Defense of 2600, speed of 217, and the accuracy here of 388. And then for Teodor, again, I kind of went with just general utility gear and really beefed up his speed, got him up there at 292 with the 53k HP, almost 4,000 of defense. He is a defense champion, so you can see here kind of his abilities scale with defense, but it's really not that big of a deal. He's kind of like a bad Alcazar, where like, yes, you have the AoE A1, but that's the only ability that you do damage on. You're just kind of doing utility besides that. So you don't really need to worry about scaling up his damage or anything, but he does actually technically scale with defense, but that is his stats right there. Then the 448 on the accuracy for him. Now, some other champions that I could see working well in this scenario here towards like Dragon 10 hard, if you try to grind up for the fusion, I can go through a couple that really stand out to me. Lydia would be great just for general utility there. And then also in the Dark Elves, Zavia can be a fun little detonator, AoE damage dealer to help you really blast through waves and be able to take down the dragon quickly as well. Also in the High Elves, there is a fun detonator in Eleanor, who has the like guaranteed HP burn, which gets utilized a lot places like the Doom Tower, stuff like that, the Frost Spider, but can also be another detonator to watch out for. And I don't have this guy, unfortunately. I wish I did. He's super fun. It's kind of similar to like a Teodor when setting up teams like this. I wish I had him, but Calvalax could be a great one to build teams around in Dragon 10 hard and some of these different speed detonating dragon teams as well. And also, do not sleep on Stultus. This guy is amazing in the hard version of the dragon. You can really build some great teams utilizing Stultus. So you don't have to go my route. There are other champions out there to watch out for that you can really build a solid Dragon 10 team around. Because right now we've got champion training and dragon tournament alive, so it can be handy to kind of do both at once and build you one of these teams. You also don't have to do Dragon 10 hard like I'm doing. You can do over on the normal side. You just want to get your points here during the fusion, so don't worry about it. But here on my account, I do go with the Dragon 10 hard and then throw in a couple food and just make sure I'm constantly kind of getting things maxed out so I can work on the champion training event as well while I'm grinding up all of these points for the dragon. So good luck in the Emic fusion, and I hope all of you have a great weekend. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.